So this goes
And
back to me saying that there is no such thing as good Islam, but there are good Muslims, right? So there is no good Islam or bad Islam. All of Islam is bad Islam, right? But there are good Muslims, and good Muslims are Muslims who are not following Islam. Many Muslims who are not. There are many Muslims who are not following Islam. There are many Muslims who don't even know much about Islam. um, the way, we have fundamentalist Muslims, we have minimalist Muslims, and then we have nominal Muslims, and there have many people in between, right? Um, to truly follow Islam, you have to be a jihadi. Many Muslims are not jihadi, and they're not following Islam. And people might say like, okay, well, if they're not following Islam, then they're not really Muslim. Well, no, by definition, and as long as you claim you're a Muslim and you believe in Allah and you believe in Muhammad and you believe in the Quran as the word of God, technically you're a Muslim. Even if you're not following in the Quran, the words of Quran, you're just a bad Muslim. You're a bad Muslim, which makes you a good human being, but a bad Muslim. um and there are many Muslims who are like that, and are on our side. Like, we have Muslims who are pro-Israel, pro-America. Again, they're being a very bad Muslim by being pro these things, right? But still, I mean, I disagree with them aggressively regarding their views on Islam. But they're still I still consider them allies. So like, we don't have such a thing right now, but I was wondering, like, for example, if we have somebody who says I'm a Muslim, but is, like, for example, a Republican who says I'm a Muslim, believes in free markets, as aggressively against capitalism, aggressively against woke right and woke left, aggressively patriotic American, and very pro Israel, then I would consider that person to be an ally on our side, even if they're Muslim, even though I still passionately disagree with the Islam, with their view on Islam. And I also like to remind people that we have IDF soldiers that are Muslim, Arab IDF soldiers that are Muslim, that Israel brags about a lot, and they're spokesperson for the IDF. So, and if people say that every time a Muslim says such a thing, they're doing taqiyya. I like to remind people that most Muslims don't know what taqiyya is. Taqiyya was mostly known something by the scholars. Most Muslims learn about taqiyya from non-Muslims. And honestly, if the IDF trusts them, then I trust them, because I think like the IDF knows, what these people are up to. And again, I have a show. Um, yeah, pro-capitalist. I did. Oh, sorry, did I misspoke? Pro-capitalist. Yeah. So I was talking about, imagine somebody who is a Republican Muslim candidate for that is pro-capitalism, anti-communism, pro-Israel, pro-America. If I said anti-capitalism, my mistake. But then, yeah, I consider that person to be an ally. Um, yeah. So thank you, Digital, for correcting me. And also, Digital, let me know what you think about this. Would you consider a person like that to be an ally? Again, just because I see somebody like that as an ally, it doesn't mean that I'm holding back on Islam, right? I mean, in fact, one I keep people think I'm being soft. Let me make 2 points, because some people think that because I consider a Muslim like that to be an ally, people think that I'm being soft on Islam. I'm actually very aggressive against Islam. And 2 points to that is, first of all, one reason why I'm against Islam is for the sake of Muslims. I consider Muslims to be victims of Islam. I'm not anti Islam as a way to be anti Muslim. I'm anti Islam. I think the best way to be pro Muslim is to be anti Islam. Anti Islam is a pro Muslim position. So, one. Two, I think the most aggressive way to be anti Islam is to try to befriend Muslims. I think befriending Muslims is the most effective way to be anti-Islamic. That's how you get in. That's how you manage to change people's minds. Being aggressively anti-Muslim is the best way to isolate Muslims into their own communities and lose access to them. But anyways, I'm talking for too much. But yeah, Sherry. But by the way, Sherry, this is a very important topic. You keep like apologizing, saying I'm sorry if this is people are not interested in. This is a very interesting topic. So you don't need to apologize for the topics that you bring up. But yeah, go on.
I thank you very much for bringing that up. And that's one of the things, one of the reasons I thought this was important to talk about is there is this very distinct difference between Muslim and Islamists. And I want to ask you a question. Well, not a question, basically a favor. You shared earlier today um, a a link to a video that you had with a Muslim woman that you absolutely adore. Would you share that in the open link over here?
Yes.
I would appreciate that. I think most of us would appreciate that. Um, and I do believe, I'm going to stick kind of to something I said, or I feel like most Muslim people in Western society are not searching for running for office and be powerful. However, I do think you had a great dream and imagination was saying, just imagine if that would happen. I would love to see that happen. And I'll let you share more on that you shared earlier today.
Okay. Yeah. So I put the link in the chat. Yeah, it is Dahlia. Nail Bunny knew exactly who that she is. Was it Dahlia? Yes. And she, Dahlia, Nail Bunny saying, I love her. Yes. And guys, like Dahlia, for example, is a great example because Dahlia risked her life to defend Israel. As a Muslim woman with hijab, she, in Egypt, she risked her life to defend Israel. So that is extreme bravery. And I consider her to be our friend. And yeah, please go. I put the link in the chat as well, YouTube chat. Please go watch that. Um, and one more point. Oh, by the way, I know I'm being picky with the language here, but I wouldn't say Muslim. Oh, by the way, Sherry, your mic is open. I wouldn't say Muslim. Some people are Muslim, some people are Islamist, because Islamists might suggest that there is two versions of Islam, Islam and Islamism. Islamism is the word that people use for political Islam, but all Islam is political. So I like to say, you know, again, I'll use my categorization, but then I'll tell you what I say other people. So for Islam, it's just Islam. It's not Islam and Islamism. It's just Islam. For people, the way I categorize it is nominal Muslim, minimalist Muslim, fundamentalist Muslim, and then among fundamentalist Muslims, we have jihadis, right? That's the way I look at it. But that's obviously too complicated for most people. So the simplified version of it is average Muslims and jihadis, right? Not Islamists, average Muslims and jihadis. And for the religion, it's just Islam. There is no Islam, Islamism, Islam, but simplification for categorizing among people, average Muslims and jihadis. And the reason why I like the word jihadi is because you could show that jihadism is Islam. So if an average Muslim is not being a jihadi, they're going against the Quran because the Quran makes it very, very clear that you have to be a jihadi.
I also would like you to share the link you shared earlier today on Ella, the IDF soldier who is also a Muslim. I think that's
Okay.
important to share.
Okay, I will.
Now,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Shauna for a response.
Okay, I appreciate all that, and I'm not condemning, all billions of people, but I do want strict, and I don't know how to do this with our constitution. This is like a very complicated thing that I on a technical level, do not know how to do, but I do want a ban on this religion coming into our country. I don't trust them, and I think it's fair, given the behavior of the majority or even the level of violence from the minority, to say, look, this is a threat. It's just like communism to me. Like, I'm sorry, like, we exported communists during McCarthyism. I don't see why that should be any different towards another ideology whose goal is to overthrow our constitution and our country. Like, And to be honest, the other issue that I see is the younger generations are not becoming less radical, they're becoming more radical. The older ones are the moderates. Are the older ones that are my age and older are more nominal. The people that are younger than me, I'm 40. The people who came into this country 20 years ago are usually pretty moderate. They're usually people who, because they were escaping the radicalism. But the people who are born here, who are second or third generation, those are the ones I'm seeing wearing hijabis. It's not the 40-year-olds, it's not the 50-year-old Muslims, the nominals that are wearing the hijabis, it's the 20-year-olds. That's the concern I have. So like and to be honest, it's because currently I'm in a college town. In a month I'm moving back to a more labor town, which will be great, but it's still pretty leftist in some ways because they don't it's so secular here that they don't understand the threats of religion because they think religion is something very, very personal. The very concept of a public religion is confusing. To like, I didn't understand it until I started to study it because it's so foreign to this particular area. Most people believe in God, but they're the highest reported population are like very similar to Iran, honestly, where it's like a lot of nons. It's people who believe in God, but they're not religious. Um, and so even the concept of a like, they just see it as a culture and they don't understand it as a religion. They don't understand it as an ideology that wants to overthrow the United States. And they also just see it as, well, yeah, lots of people have radical views when they're young because they did, and then they kind of got houses and learned what taxes are, and so they think that that's what is going to happen with these young radical Muslims, which I do not believe. So I still consider it a threat. I don't trust them, and if I see a person with a hijab, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm evil for assuming that this person has radical views. Like, and as far as bringing them closer, no, I think that their religion should be publicly mocked because because what's happening right now is it's racist. It's considered racist to criticize their faith. So Christians can take it in the neck all day, every day in this country, in a predominantly Christian, historically Christian country. They can take it in the neck all day, everywhere. Nobody says shit. Jews are taking it in the neck now in ways that I've never seen in my lifetime. And that's both, it's anti-Semitism, it's anti-Judaism, and it's anti-Israelism. It's all three. I'm seeing all three. And what we're just not allowed to mock this one. I'm sorry. I should be able to put up pictures of Muhammad mocking him on every signpost in my area without receiving any violence. I should be able to do that, and I know that I can't. Like, that's
Wait,
ridiculous.
Sherry, Shana, do you think do you think anything you said contradict what I was saying at all?
Yeah, because you want us to bring us closer to Muslims, and I don't. I want to mock them. I want to be able to publicly mock them.
Okay, you completely misunderstood me. Let me actually re-explain all of this, okay? So this is my fault, maybe, if I didn't explain. I have been mocking Islam most of my life. I've been burning the Quran on camera. I have created annual events when it comes to mocking religion and attacking Islam. Okay. I So nothing you said contradicts anything I said. Now let me explain. First of all, I have been saying that there should, if it was up to me, there would be zero migration from any Islamic country. Zero. Not even one person. Not even one person from any Islamic country. That doesn't contradict me saying that there are good Muslims. Yeah, there are good Muslims. We can't afford to take a risk. We can't afford to take a risk because they're good Muslims out there. You know, Western civilization needs to be protected from the risk. Your population has on per capita way more problematic people than other societies. Me saying per capita you have bigger problems does not deny the existence of good people among your population, but it also means that we cannot afford to let you in. Even if it means that some well-deserving people are not going to get what they actually do deserve. Sorry, protecting Western civilization is a priority, but it is also true that there are some Muslims that are good people. But when you say like we shouldn't be letting them in, I agree with that. That doesn't contradict the fact that some of them are good people. Stop migration completely from these places. So I don't know. That didn't contradict what you said. Didn't contradict what I said. And also, not only that, I will go farther. I will say there are good Muslims, and good Muslims are also part of the problem. Good Muslims are the problem because they make Islam look good, and they good Muslims are the grass that the snake of Islam hides in. And I understand that. But at the same time, they are good people. And me understanding that they are a problem doesn't mean that I'm going to mistreat them. I will mock Islam if they feel like they're mistreated because I'm mocking Islam. That is their problem. I'm not attacking you as a person. Go ahead and mock atheism. I don't see that as an attack on me. Go ahead and make fun, make joke. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Mike, let me. I'm not done. Mute your mic because I'm hearing a lot of background. Thank you. If I mock Islam, I think people like mocking Islam should be a priority. If a good Muslim sees me attacking them because I'm mocking Islam, okay, that's your problem. Don't come to me. If it's going to push them away. Dahlia, for example, knew that I burned the Quran, that I mock Islam, and she still considers herself my friend. If she wants to see me as a friend, even though she knows I mock Islam and I burn the Quran, good on her. If somebody thinks that I'm attacking them personally because I mock Islam, well then go somewhere else. I don't need your friendship, right? I'm just not going to attack you personally as an individual. I'm going to keep mocking your prophet and your Quran and your Allah and your entire religion. But if you're not harming me or if you're not harming society, I don't mean any harm against you individually. If you see me mocking Islam as me harming you individually, then you're a little snowflake that this is your problem that you have to deal with, right? And then you say, I don't trust them. Okay, this is not about trust. Yeah, of course you shouldn't trust them. You shouldn't trust me, to be honest. You shouldn't trust anybody. Okay. This is me saying that I will continue attacking Islam, but if a Muslim is not attacking us or is not mistreating us or is not doing anybody any harm, I'm not going to wish that person any harm or attack them individually. And I'm going to be nice to them. I'm going to be friendly to them. There is no reason for me to be unfriendly to an individual Muslim for as if they're being friendly to me. Okay, recognizing that individual Muslims could be good people and we could be nice to them does not mean that we're underestimating the threat of Islam, that we are against a policy that stops all migration from Muslim countries. We should be there. That we don't understand that these good Muslims are also part of the problem. Okay, but just because we understand that they're part of the problem doesn't mean that I'm going to be unfriendly towards individual Muslims. And mocking Islam doesn't mean that I'm being unfriendly towards individual Muslims, right? And I don't think it's just Islam that should be publicly mocked. I think every idea, all ideas should be publicly mocked. If you can't handle being mocked, that's your problem. Even good ideas should be publicly mocked. Even ideas that I support should be publicly mocked. Every idea should be publicly mocked. When I say there are individual good Muslims that I'm going to be friendly with, that does not mean that I'm going to hold back against attacking their religion. The aim should be destroying Islam. The aim should be annihilating Islam. The aim should be ending Islam. Okay, I'm not saying we're going to achieve that, but that should be the aim. Me not being unfriendly to an individual and not judging them individually, that doesn't mean that I'm going to trust their religion, that I'm going to hold back. That doesn't even mean that I'm going to trust that individual person. That's all I'm saying. So I agree with everything that you said, and I don't think anything you said contradicted what I said. But I don't know. Let me know if I clarify anything that I said that is clarifying at all.
Okay. I hear you. I hear all of that. I guess the problem where I'm having a hard time, and maybe this is just a me problem, okay? Now that I'm thinking about it, is if your religion is your identity, if that's your identity, if it's your primary identity, then you will feel attacked if your religion is mocked. I also want to preface this by a secondary caveat to that. which is you have a benefit in the fact that you're an atheist. So you don't really have skin in the game when it comes to a religious standpoint, because you're not a Christian, you're not Zoroastrian, you're not Jewish, right? You're an atheist. So you can more easily mock all religion, mock Islam, because first of all, you're an ex-Muslim, but also as an atheist, you can just mock all religions equally. Whereas I think it's harder for people who have a religious worldview. And if your religion is your identity, then they're going to take it as a personal. Now, granted, I hear what you're saying, that that's them, but I just assumed that most of them, given the amount of which Islam plays in people's lives, I would assume that being Muslim is their identity. That's why there's such a thing as nominal Muslims. That was my understanding. So it's
So,
that they
yeah,
might just take it that way.
so yeah, but that's their problem. I'm doing the right thing. That is their problem. If they take it that way, if they like, you're like, if they, I'm going to be a good person, I'm going to treat individual people the way that they should be treated unless they are threatening me, and I will mock their religion, and you're like, well, Armin, they're going to take it personally anyways. I don't care. That is their problem. I did the right thing. I was individually nice to people. I mocked your religion. If you're taking it your personally, I don't care. That's your issue. I did the right thing. You could get offended. Good, actually. I'm happy that you're offended. Maybe you need to get more offended so that eventually some of you get desensitized.
Okay, I've got a lot of replies. So first is
Okay.
Monkey.
Okay, why do we want to import anyone? If you're a Christian, stay out. I don't give a fuck if you're a Christian. We got too many peoples in here. Get out, Christians. If you're not from here, get the fuck out. You're Jewish, get the fuck out. You're Christian, get the fuck out. You're an atheist, get the fuck out. You're a Buddhist, get the fuck out. I don't give a shit what you believe. Stay the fuck out. I want an everyone. I want a human ban. That's what I want. I want a human ban. No
Okay,
more
okay.
humans. You're not getting a
Got
visa,
it.
you're getting nothing. As far as politicians, why would you trust a Christian politician? Why would you trust an atheist politician? Jimmy Carter was a Baptist, so was Bill Clinton. He was a Southern Baptist, right? Biden was a Catholic. Romney was I think it was a Mormon. Why would I trust any of these people? I don't care what religion you are or lack thereof. I don't trust you. I don't trust humans, animals, or things. Why the hell would you trust these people based on something like a religion or a race or a gender? That's stupid. That's making you stupid. You're going to put one person in charge of everything because I look like me, mirror. IT mirror, look like me. That's stupid. That's how you get conned. Of course you don't trust them. They're politicians. I remember when it was healthy to say don't trust politicians. Now we're looking for a mirror. No, 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 no. I want a human ban and to get rid of this idea that we should trust politicians because of their religion, their race, their gender. I don't care. Get rid of all of them and don't trust any politician ever. It's ridiculous.
Okay, interesting take. Samantha?
So I was gonna say I want to say that I'm like very appreciative of Dahlia for like everything she's done. I also want to say like from a practical standpoint, getting like a thing in the Constitution to ban Muslims is from immigrating to the US is going to be so absurdly difficult. Like I think you need to make a constitutional amendment. I think you need like 2/3 of the Congress to propose it, and then like 3/4 of like the state legislatures to approve of it. Like it's you're more likely if you try to get that type of amendment, you're far more likely to radicalize people on the left who are going to be like, oh my God, like Muslims are in danger. And like you're more likely to radicalize people on the left than you are to actually succeed at passing anything. And also, like, I kind of want to say, like, I trust no one. So, like, the thing is, like, for it to make sense to like not want to let people immigrate because you don't trust them. Like, I don't trust anyone, but like the thing is, like, you have to trust, like, if you also don't trust Americans, then like, you know, like it's why would you have to think that the group of immigrants is less trustworthy than Americans, and like there's definitely groups out there who have immigrated to this country and committed disproportionately less crimes. It, I think I think people who've immigrated from like, specifically South Korea, I think have a very low crime rate compared to the average American. So it doesn't, like, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, why are we banning these people? Yeah.
Next is Sherry. Sherry.
I don't see her.
Oh. Okay. Next is Dajal.
Dajjal.
First of all, I agree with you on calling them jihadists instead of Islamist. I think that gets the idea across a lot better. Calling them Islamist makes it seem like you're talking about two different kinds of Islam, when in fact there is only one form of Islam, and it's all bad. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about Sunni or Shia. It's all bad. There's no redeeming it. You just need to attack it and basically chop it down. The big Islamic tree needs to be chopped the fuck down, and that's all there is to it. So when you're talking about the true Muslims, which are the jihadists, that's how you need to talk about how you need to refer to them as jihadists, because they are the true Muslims. I've said many times that the only good Muslim is a bad Muslim, like you said yourself. But the best Muslim is an ex-Muslim. And of course you have the sayings, like radical Islam. Radical Islam is the snake in the grass. Moderate Islam is the grass that hides the snake. Radical Muslims want to kill you. Moderate Muslims want radical Muslims to kill you. And I stand by all that. Now, are there individual outliers, like you talk about, who don't believe in that, and who, as people, call themselves Muslims, but are actually much better than religion? Yes, there are, absolutely. Such as your friend that you just talked about. Another one would be Lubna Zayedi from Candid with Lubna. I would consider her one of those outliers, no doubt about it. The problem is that these individuals, for the most part, are simply utterly irrelevant. They do not really matter in the long run or in the statistics, because even the other so-called moderate Muslims will come after them, like that fucking bush rat bitch who went to the fucking funeral. Like she harassed Lubna, said like she's brought this upon herself, demonizing our community, blah blah blah. Even though she's what you would call a lipstick Muslim, and in many ways, this actually makes her worse than someone wearing, a goddamn potato sack over herself. And the bottom line is, there's not that many of them, and they're irrelevant. And frankly, they give these people cover, wittingly or unwittingly, intentionally or unintentionally. They just do. And as far as Muslim politicians go, I would never vote for a Muslim politician. Period. I don't care how individually different they may or may not be. And it's entirely possible you could have someone who, in their heart of hearts, yes, is really trying to make a difference, but it's simply too much of a risk. And therefore, I'm simply going to cut them off at the pass and not even consider the idea of it. It's not a thing for all practical intents and purposes when you really get down to it. Like, yeah, as individuals, you can like them, you can get along with them, you can be friendly with them, but at the end of the day, they're really just fucking irrelevant. And also, quite frankly, like personally, I avoid making Muslims as friends. I just do. It's not worth my time. I find it weakens me. and it's just not tenable for me. It's too much of a risk. In fact, I just don't have the heart for it. Even though I do know there are individuals who are nice enough people. I just don't take the effort because I don't want to help Islam in any way, shape, manner, or form at all. And that's just the way it is. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's actually making a lot of sense. Just a quick question. So I see, like, even if there are outliers, it's not worth the risk to elect them because you never know. Okay, I get that, right? And also you're saying there are outliers and they're irrelevant because there's, either there's too few of them, or even if there's more of them, they're not doing much to make a difference. I also get that. But that all comes with the recognition. I think that nothing you said negates what I'm saying, because and you don't have to be friends with them. Again, per capita, you know that these people have more of an issue, so you're just avoiding risk. I also get that. Also, personally, you don't like to make an effort. That's completely makes sense as well. But all of everything you said comes with the recognition of two things, and let me know if you agree with it, that these outliers exist and some of them are genuinely good people, right? Even if it's irrelevant, they do exist. And also with the recognition that it doesn't make any sense to personally be hostile to these types of individuals. Even if you don't want to be friends with them, that makes sense, right? For risk aversion. But also to these specific individuals, even if they are irrelevant, hostility towards these individuals as people is not a good policy. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I don't. I like the friend you were talking about. Like, I'm not going to be purposely hostile to her by any means. I don't see the point in doing so. If, however, I do say something that ends up offending her, such as like burning a Quran or something to that effect, then so be it. Like, that's just the way it is. But yeah,
I agree.
Yes,
I agreed. 100% agree. I agree with you. Okay.
Right. So Armin, you were next. So you just spoke. So
Okay.
I'm next. Um, so I'm just going to point out that number one, the reason why people like Dahlia Zaida is such a good person is she would be a good person in any faith or in no faith. She's a good person. That's why she's that way. So, it has nothing really to do with whether she's Muslim or not. That's my belief. But the people are freaking out in the chat about how yes, Prince Reza Pahlavi she says he's a Shiite Muslim, and that Mohammad Reza Shah was also Shiite Muslim. But also, this is what is different about them. They put Iran and nation above that. And that is why the mullahs hated them. That is why they hated the Pahlavis at all. That's why they hate most Iranians, because they were Iranian above being Muslim. They were sort of nominal cultural, but not really what they saw as being actually Muslim. And for me, to get back to the actual topic, which is Muslim politicians, I think that to be a politician, you must put the needs of the country or your constituents over Islam. So essentially, you need to be like Reza Pahlavi. That's what you need to be like if you want to be a politician or a leader of a country in any way. You need to put the country above any religion, and that makes you legitimate. But if you can't do that, you absolutely do not belong in politics, because you have a different allegiance. So the next person is Rebecca. She did say she
Yeah, I didn't. Wait, let me fix. I didn't expect to like make it. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I didn't. So I was just like gathering like gossip about Dahlia behind the scenes as we speak. Well, here's okay. So I'm gonna give like a third option that has nothing to do with Dahlia. But here's another aspect of it which is important to consider. One is there are people who after COVID got addicted to wearing masks because they got like they felt more confident with it on. So if somebody wore hijab all their lives, they might not feel like they can be without it because they are it's more of like a physical thing and psychological, and like there are a lot of elements there. And there are people who are literally addicted to wearing like the COVID masks, you know. So believe me, it's possibility. The other thing is that if you believe in God and you want to pray, it feels kind of, I guess it's weird to make up your own prayers, and or if it soothes you, if it's type of, and you kind of need to join whatever exists. And let's be honest, like the real two options maybe is Christianity and Judaism. Christianity requires you a leap of craziness, which is like, yes, somebody rose from the dead and I believe it now. And and the other, and Judaism is very exclusive. And if somebody needs to pray, they might not have an alternative to moving from Islam to something else. Like I truly believe there should be. I truly believe that there is a psychological truth like to it. There needs to be something that is, you know, close enough, but not that. Could be like as a transitional phase, you know. It's like you give people like their small like bike wheels. The other thing about Dahlia is that she has a complicated story when it comes, like I'm hearing from, like I'm telling you, I'm getting like from inside of Egypt some stories. But on the same, I don't want to go into it because I know a lot of similar stories that happened in the USSR in the same fashion, in the same manner. And once you move from a pressure system that controls your mind to, and then with the moment you see what it really is, and then until you finally like accept it, I can see like I saw it happening. At the same time, there is a lot, and I'm gonna say it very carefully. It takes a lot of mental strength for geopolitics. It takes a lot of really counterintuitive, brutal honesty, sometimes to the extent of admitting that like your family is not good, that, you know, if you're honest about the situation and you're gonna put them in jeopardy, it's what happens when you do something like geopolitics. You have to be very, and it is not easy. And because of that, even without wanting to do anything that is bad, without wanting to lie, without wanting any type of takia, let's say like really like completely being divorced of all the toxic elements of Islam and just, you know, having that like literally a list of a lot of things that are very plausible and also very plausible together. Always have your own judgment. People carry a lot with them, and it means that what they see and how they see the world, you know, it's like we all have it, whether it's for me, like how I see Westerners and politeness as somebody who doesn't come from that culture, or whether it's like Armin and how he sees religion and what it is and what it isn't. Just saying it does have a side effect that is unfortunate, which is also like for people that are outside where they don't know the nuances. When you approve of something, it looks like you approved of it once you approved the symbol of it. They don't see like Like they don't, oh, it's just because this is a special case. They see like, okay, that symbol is approved, it is fine. And so that means that we can accept the institution behind it. So that's just several things, but honesty and also I think like a set of like principles that are clear that would also like cover for it. That's all. Well, I really have to go now.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Interesting
Thank
perspective.
you.
Thank you. Glad we could hear you.
Next is Monkey.
Okay, now, like when I was saying ban everybody, like every single religion, every single race, every single gender, doesn't matter, like furries to everyone. I wanted to expand that, right? It's not just no humans coming in. I want to bring back exile, right? We just took 175,000 visas, and basically they're excommunicado. Some of them were banned for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I want more of that. Like, I don't want, like, not only do I want to ban people for coming in, don't worry, we'll get robots. We don't need you, right? I also want to bring back exile, not only of people with visas, but also Americans. Why aren't we doing this? It was done throughout the longest of times. It worked great. I'm saying bring back exile, and continue. Not just the illegal aliens, people with visas too. You F around, you find out. This, I want total and complete ban, exile, and stop trusting politicians. I don't care. Like, is it a human saying things? Why are you trusting it? You shouldn't trust
You said
humans,
that.
animals, or things.
Okay. All right.
Right. Actually, I did want to respond to Monkey's previous anti-immigrant rant. As an immigrant to the United Kingdom from America, I had to prove that I would be a net contributor. And that was a very difficult thing to do. So if you can do that, if you can prove you're going to be a net contributor to the country that you're going to, then that's good immigration. But I mean, really, the issue that we see is people are coming in, based on asylum, and that is very, very difficult to prove. And especially, no country should have to take in people for asylum. They absolutely do not. They should not. No country should be forced to do that. It isn't fair. It's not their problem that is whatever's going on in your country is bad. And in my opinion, if things that are going badly in your country, then try and change it and work on that. And if things do change in the country you came from, then great, you can go back there. But we're not seeing that. People who are claiming asylum, they go to the country they supposedly escaped on holiday. That's ridiculous. So after me is Ram.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I don't know what's over my school up today. Just 2 points. One, on immigration, just quickly, it's hilarious how people claim to hate where they came from and the way of life that's established in their hometown, and then they come to a new country and do the exact same thing, and then they blame the hosts. And secondly, with this thing of kind of the whole argument of good Muslim, bad Muslim, or if you're Muslim, you are not essentially dedicated to your country. I know personally of a person who was a general in the Imperial Army of Muhammad Reza Shah. He would pray. Yeah, he had a Quran in Farsi, and he would pray 5 times a day in Farsi. And just to give you perspective on how much he hated the Islamic regime, he never switched his passport to an Islamic regime passport. He said, I don't want to, I'm never going to leave the country, and I do not want my name associated with these animals, but he was a devout Muslim. However, once he learned about the Islamic regime and the way that they were behaving and the things that they were promoting, his faith slowly and slowly dwindled to the point where a part of him absolutely broke and died. And he kind of passed away a broken-hearted man. So it's a super complex thing, just like Rebecca said. When you get used to something as a safety blanket, religion can be that for a lot of people, especially one as invasive and as is dictative the correct word, as Islam. And so, yeah, that's all. I just want to add that.
So that's all. Do you have any super chats?
Yes, we got 2 super chats. One is from Van Dyvel saying, "I'm Christian, but not mad at people mocking. Sorry for them." Yep, that means that you have thick skin. Thank you, Van Dyvel, for the super chat. And hold on. Oh, by the way, Lior was saying the job put a 2. I'm all ears. Lior was really excited that the job had put a 2 in the chat. There was a comment here saying, "I have no trust. Sorry." Nobody talked about trust. Nobody, we didn't say you need to trust people. I don't know why every time we say some Muslims are good people, every time somebody says, "I don't trust them," we never suggested that you should trust people. Every time I say that, somebody's like, "We don't trust them." Like, recognizing that some of them are good people does not mean you need to trust them. It just means that, like, being hostile to everybody, it doesn't make any sense. But mocking Islam, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And somebody, okay, so Sherry here in the chat was saying, "Friendly, tell the majority no thank you." Yeah, being friendly to people or not being friendly to people doesn't have much of an impact on them being a majority or not. So you could be, you don't even need to be friendly to them. I'm just saying, if there are individual good Muslims, just being hostile to them doesn't make it, that is not good policy. And you being hostile to them does not decrease the chances of them being majority. In fact, it works with the policy of the jihadis, because once they're already in, you being hostile to them pushes them into their circles, and that's exactly what they want. Again, you guys could be like, some of you think that I'm suggesting that you should be less aggressive towards Islam. You could be as aggressive. You should, in fact, not. I advocate for being extremely aggressive against Islam. Being hostile to individual people, that's a different thing than being aggressively anti-Islam. Those are 2 different things. And Christian, with a 10 joules. Thank you so much from Christian or Ronaldo. Thank you so much for the super chat.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.